Hi again. Human Rights Watch says it's documented several new cases of abuse by Israeli security forces against Palestinian youngsters. He claims that Israeli police routinely interrogate children without a parent present, violating international and domestic Israeli laws then. Sarah Bashi from the Watchdog described to us the arrest of one 15-year-old Palestinian boy that was caught on camera.
So in one of the cases, the child's arrest was actually documented on video in a store security. And 7 very large police officers dressed in full riot gear are seen slapping, dragging, and putting into a chokehold a child who weighed 53 kilograms. So it's pretty clear that excessive force was used. There was documentary evidence and no steps were taken. Israel has specially trained youth investigators, but they're not the ones who tend to perpetrate the abuse. The abuse tends to be by ordinary police officers or soldiers, and they need to be much better trained. And most importantly, there needs to be a message at the highest level that Palestinian children are children. Even if they're suspected of attacks, they are children, and they need to be protected.
Israeli police have responded to the allegations, saying that their officers, quote, act in accordance with Israeli law that includes upholding the rights of the suspects wherever they are and without prejudice. Israel has also been criticised over its methods of detention of Palestinian minors too, not at the crime scene but later in nighttime raids on suspects' homes. RT's Paula Sleer next meets the families and children who've been arrested by Israeli forces.
The Israeli army knocked hard on the door. I opened the door and they came in. They entered the house and asked, "Where's Mohammed? Where's Mohammed?" They turned the house inside out, the chairs, the sofas, the drawers. They broke the glass. They searched the bedrooms, the kitchen, the computers, Mohammed's bedroom.
And according to Saleh, found nothing. But that didn't stop the soldiers from arresting his son, 16-year-old Mohammed, and placing him under administrative detention. The practice of shattering the peace of the night is often repeated. Hebron, the dead of night. These children are woken up by Israeli soldiers taking their photographs. A month later, another Hebron home. Pictures again are taken.
They gathered all of my little brothers and sisters in the living room. They entered my room and pulled me off the bed by my shirt while I was asleep, and my head hit the cupboard.
Mohammed's crime, allegedly throwing stones at soldiers. But when the court hearing came up, after he'd already spent 3 months in prison, there wasn't enough evidence and Mohammed was let go. This is where Mohammed was supposedly throwing stones at the Israeli soldiers. As always happens during these confrontations, the soldiers would have been standing there at the barriers. They would have been firing tear gas and rubber bullets at the young Palestinians who would have been standing where I am. They would have been, from this position, hurling Molotov cocktails and throwing stones at the IDF. Mohammed says that he was over there, across the road, merely observing things. But instead of arresting Mohammed and others at the scene, it's much safer for the soldiers to come to their houses late at night. They're guaranteed the youngsters will be at home and neighbors and others will not get involved.
They do it in purpose to come after midnight and to harass, because it's a punishment for the whole family actually, and not just for the kid. This is the way how they arrest children and adults actually, by terrifying the whole family. They enter to the houses and they intentionally mix stuff in the house, break furniture, or harass the whole family. They wanted to use it as a collective punishment against the whole society.
This 14-year-old Palestinian faces the same charges.
If he will bring the kids that run away, then we can talk. No. Every time somebody throwing rocks, we see this kid. We remember his face. If I see his face again, I don't care if I see him throw rocks or not, he's gonna go with us.
They're taken out of their beds, very often with their pajamas or half naked, and they're standing in the cold or in the heat. So it takes them out of balance. And in this respect, it shows to the neighborhood, to the family, what it means to be under the threat of the Israeli army.
Either way, it's a terrifying practice that makes people afraid, whether they're guilty or not. Paula Sleer, RT.
Hope you can stay with us heading to a break. Next, after that, more depth, more analysis on one of the main stories today. Watching the Hawks, looking at those mass arrests at the Democracy Spring protests in Washington, D.C.